Have you ever noticed that the most intelligent people rarely feel the need to prove it? They don't dominate the room, they don't speak just to be heard, and they definitely don't blurt out things that chip away at their character. See, real intelligence isn't about having the most knowledge. It's about how you carry it, how you communicate it, how you use your words like a blade, sharp when needed, but mostly sheathed. In this video, we're not just pointing fingers at bad habits. We're dissecting 7 phrases that quietly reveal emotional immaturity, hidden insecurity, or a lack of self-awareness, and how truly intelligent people, guided by Stoic clarity, never fall into these traps. So, if you want your words to reflect strength instead of ego, clarity instead of confusion, and wisdom instead of noise, watch this to the end and don't skip, because what you say tells the world who you are. Let's begin. 1. Let me tell you what I know. We've all met someone who enters a conversation not to learn, but to perform. They drop facts, quote philosophers, mention books they've read, all to signal intelligence. But here's what Stoicism teaches us. Wisdom doesn't advertise itself. Marcus Aurelius never needed applause. Seneca didn't win arguments to feel smart. Epictetus, he believed, if you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid. Let me tell you a story. There was a man I once worked with. Brilliant by every definition. But in every meeting, he found a way to remind everyone of his knowledge. If you mentioned a book, he'd already read it. If you brought up an idea, he had already mastered it. At first, people were impressed, but over time, they stopped listening. Not because he wasn't smart, but because his words stopped feeling generous. They felt like competition. That's the paradox of boasting. You speak to be admired, but end up alienating. A truly intelligent person doesn't need to say, "Let me tell you what I know." They ask, "What can I learn from this?" They listen more than they speak. They let their actions teach louder than their voice. If you ever feel the urge to prove your intelligence, pause. Ask yourself, am I sharing to help or to shine? Because the most brilliant people don't shine by force. They glow by nature. 2. That's a dumb idea. How dismissing others makes you the smallest person in the room. You ever been in a room where someone offers a thought, a new idea, a bold suggestion, and it gets crushed before it even lands? That'll never work. What were you thinking? That's dumb. Those words are like quiet assassins, not of the idea, but of trust. Now, Stoicism doesn't demand that you agree with every opinion, but it does demand that you approach people with humility. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You always own the option of having no opinion. There is never any need to get worked up or to trouble your soul about things you can't control." See, when you instantly dismiss someone's thought, you're not just rejecting their idea, you're rejecting the courage it took for them to speak. Early in my leadership career, I did this. A team member suggested a strategy I thought was ridiculous. I cut it off mid-sentence, moved on. Later that day, another colleague pulled me aside and said, "It wasn't about the idea, it was about how quickly you shut it down." That stuck with me, because it wasn't intelligence that made me interrupt, it was ego. Truly intelligent people understand that every opinion is an opportunity to learn, to teach, or simply to understand how someone else sees the world. Instead of saying, "That's a dumb idea," say, "Help me understand your angle. Let's explore it and see where it leads." What made you think of that? You don't have to agree, but you do have to respect. Because if you want to be heard when it matters most, start by listening when it's least convenient. 3. I'm just being honest. Why brutal honesty is usually just brutality. There's a phrase people love to say right before they drop a verbal grenade. I'm just being honest. But let's call it what it often is, a license to be cruel. Stoicism teaches us that honesty without compassion is not a virtue, It's a vice. Epictetus reminds us, "Be not angry that you cannot make others as you wish them to be, since you cannot make yourself as you wish to be." In other words, start with yourself. If your honesty is more about release than respect, it's not strength, it's indulgence. I once watched a colleague tear into another teammate's presentation. "This is lazy, uninspired. I'm just being honest," he said. But no one clapped. No one respected it. The room went quiet, not because he was right, but because he was reckless. Intelligent people know that honesty is not about saying everything. It's about knowing how and when to say the right thing. Before you speak your truth, ask, is it helpful? Is it necessary? Is it the right moment? Because the truth isn't a weapon, it's a mirror. And the first person it should reflect is you. 4. I didn't promise, so it's not on me. How avoiding responsibility damages respect faster than failure ever could. Sometimes people think that as long as they didn't make an official promise, they're not responsible. But here's the thing. Leadership, real leadership, isn't about doing the bare minimum of what you said you'd do. It's about owning your role, your impact, and your presence. Imagine someone saying, "I didn't say I'd help, so if it fails, that's not on me." Technically, maybe they're right, but do you trust that person after that? Do you rely on them? Do you respect them? Probably not. Stoicism doesn't teach us to hide behind the fine print. It teaches us to act with integrity, whether or not there's applause, recognition, or obligation. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one." And a good man, or woman, steps up even when it's inconvenient, owns their part even when it's unspoken, follows through even when nobody's watching. There's a story of a friend of mine, Alex, who was part of a team project that fell apart. When things went wrong, he told the group, "Well, I wasn't the lead, so I didn't think I had to step in." Technically true, but emotionally, spiritually, intellectually, it was a failure of character. People remember who shows up when it counts, and intelligent people don't wait to be assigned responsibility. They assume it. So instead of saying, "I didn't promise," ask, "What does this situation need from me? How can I help? Even if I wasn't asked, what's the right thing to do?" Because credibility is not built on what you say you'll do. It's built on what you do when it matters. 5. Why is this happening to me? The subtle way. Victim thinking blocks growth. When life punches you in the mouth, and it will, it's tempting to ask this question, why is this happening to me? It sounds innocent. It even sounds deep. But Stoic philosophy would say, it's the wrong question. The right question is, what will I do with what's happening to me? The Stoics didn't waste energy begging the universe to be fair. They focused entirely on how they responded to it. Epictetus said, "We cannot choose our external circumstances, but we can always choose how we respond to them." Let me tell you something I learned the hard way. There was a point in my life where everything seemed to collapse at once. Relationships, money, career, gone or on the edge. And my first instinct? Pity. Why me? Why now? Why this? But pity is a trap. It feels like reflection, but it's really just stagnation wearing a mask. Only when I switched the question to, what is this teaching me, did things start to shift. Not because the world changed, but because I did. That's the essence of Stoic intelligence. Don't blame the weather. Adjust your sails. Don't blame the storm. Build a better ship. Don't ask why life hit you. Ask what you'll do with the hit. Because intelligent people don't need perfect circumstances. They just need perspective and the will to act on it. 6. If I don't talk about it, it'll go away. The myth that silence solves everything. Some people believe that by not speaking about a problem, it disappears. But here's what Stoic wisdom and life teach us. Silence may buy you peace today, but it often costs you chaos tomorrow. See, there's a difference between wise silence and fearful avoidance. Wise silence is when you pause to reflect. Avoidance is when you bury what scares you, hoping it stays dead. I once knew a man who refused to talk about his marriage struggles. Every time his wife brought it up, he'd change the subject, stay late at work, retreat into silence. He thought not talking about it would keep the peace. But peace built on silence is not peace. It's just quiet before the collapse. Seneca said, "He who suffers before it is necessary suffers more than is necessary." When you hide from truth, you don't protect yourself. You delay the healing, you extend the damage, you deny the very strength you need to fix what's broken. Truly intelligent people understand. Conversations don't have to be comfortable to be necessary. Vulnerability isn't weakness, it's courage with its guard down. Silence should be a choice, not a shield. So the next time something weighs on you, don't say, "If I ignore it, it'll pass." Say, "If I face it, I'll grow." Because what we avoid grows in the dark, and what we confront begins to heal. 7. They don't deserve my kindness. How withholding goodness diminishes your greatness. This final one might sound righteous, even strong, but it's not. They don't deserve my kindness. What does that even mean? That you'll only be kind when it's earned? That your decency is conditional? Here's what Stoicism says. Your character should never be controlled by someone else's flaws. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury." That doesn't mean being naive. It means being disciplined in your goodness. Because true strength is not in withholding kindness from those who hurt you. It's in choosing grace when your ego screams for revenge. You don't forgive because they deserve it. You forgive because you do. You don't show respect because others are always worthy. You do it because your character is sacred, not up for auction. Let me put it this way. If you only treat people well when they treat you well, you're just mirroring the world. But intelligent people don't mirror. They model. They set the tone. They elevate the room, the conflict, the culture. So next time you're tempted to say, "They don't deserve my kindness," ask instead, "What does this moment reveal about me? Do I want to reflect their darkness or shine through it? Is my ego speaking, or is my highest self in charge?" Because in a world full of reactive people, those who act from principle, not provocation, are rare, and they're remembered. Your words are the fingerprints of your inner world. And intelligence, real intelligence, isn't proven by how fast you can argue, how much you know, or how sharp your sarcasm is. It's shown in what you choose not to say. You don't boast. You don't belittle. You don't avoid growth, blame others, or hide behind silence. You don't ration your kindness like it's gold. You speak with clarity. You carry yourself with purpose. You lead conversations not by volume, but by vision. So ask yourself, which of these phrases has slipped into your vocabulary? And more importantly, which one will you stop saying, starting today? If this video made you pause and reflect, leave a comment saying, "I choose wisdom." Tap that like button, subscribe for more Stoic clarity, and turn on notifications so you never miss a moment to grow deeper. Until next time, remember, be thoughtful, be deliberate, be unshakable. Be the one who leads by the power of their silence and the precision of their words.